Hello everybody, welcome to another Valheim video. I'm excited, really excited. To be honest, I was not expecting Iron Gate to do an update. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna release Enigma at the same time that they release Call to Arms to the public. And all you'll need to do to install it is just search for Enigma Mode in R2 Modman. You don't need to know any scripts or anything else. But what is Enigma? Well, I'll tease you with some of the major mechanics. All you need to do is decide whether you're going to use an existing world or make a new one. It's going to be a better experience if you make a new world, although technically you don't need to make a new world. When you first launch the world, you'll see that it starts generating everything. One of the things that Enigma Mode features is changing the location distribution of things in Valheim. For example, when you get closer to the edge of the world and you find taller mountains, you're going to find charred city remains and charred twitchers fighting the mountain's mobs. And so what it's doing is it's generating all of your normal locations, but it's also using new rules that Enigma uses to change where the locations go. So Enigma gives you a lot of locations and new places that you haven't seen before, and a couple custom locations. Generation will take a minute or so, and then when you first move, something intense is going to happen. Because I know you watching this video, you're watching me, you know what to expect. But I've designed Enigma to be found by people who don't watch my YouTube channel. So I need to shock them. The moment that they open that world for the first time, they need to clearly see something here is different. But I already showed you this, so I won't get too much into detail. I'll just show you how it's been changed. There are these paths, and as you continue down them, they will see that you're moving and then build in front of you. There's protections to make sure that it doesn't destroy bases. It'll actually make any base it finds invincible. Each one of these paths leads from the center of the world to the edge, taking you through every single biome that Valheim has to offer. You see, something I really enjoy personally is just exploring the gorgeous views that Valheim has. I think it's really cool what they've already put in the game, and I just spread it out everywhere. I think the game's cooler when the locations actually leave their biome and aren't always in the same biome all the time. So generally in Enigma Mode, you can expect the unexpected. You can know that if you're used to Valheim, well, this is gonna throw you off your boat, so to speak. We do still follow a few core principles, like the idea of keeping the meadows safe is quite important, because while it is fun to have a lot of danger in the world, the dangerous world is only as interesting as the safety allows it to be. So you need a mix of danger and safety. But now you've seen more about the path, let's get into the progression system, because how does that work exactly? Enigma Mode features a rework of the boss progression systems entirely. You no longer fight the bosses in the beginning of the game. Instead, the boss fights are all endgame content, incredibly challenging events, requiring you to leverage most of the mechanics that POM has to offer and group combat with help from your friends. For now, when you first start, you're going to progress through what are called boss chests, which are essentially quests in order to get the progression item. When the first player approaches a boss altar, it'll spawn the boss chest, and then you can just open it up and it'll have some instructions for you. As we can see here, it asks us for 100 wood, 30 flint, a boar trophy, and a neck trophy. So here we have the items they ask for. We have our 100 wood, our boar trophy, and our neck trophy, and our flint. We can close the chest, putting the items in any order, and then we'll get the progression item, the hard antler. But not only that, we'll also get some other useful supplies that'll help us learn about all of the different mechanics that Path of Magic has to offer. You can imagine that you're starting to get a feel for how things work here. You find the boss chest, you do the stuff, you progress a little bit, maybe find a cool spot to build, and then you keep going. But the changes don't end there. One of my favorite changes that we've made is to the dungeons. The dungeons are now a respawning series of craziness that give you a bunch of different building resources. On the outside, they look pretty much the same, except there's gonna be more monsters, but aside from that, nothing crazy. As soon as you go into the burial chamber, it's going to load up and you're going to get a special kind of container called a dungeon barrel. This is a place that you can put all of the loot that you find in the dungeon. Because you're used to dungeons in normal Valheim, let me tell you, these dungeons are totally different. They're designed around the Daggerfall dungeons, an old game that most of us probably haven't even played. The thing is, when you're in Palm dungeons, you're constantly in danger. Just because you don't see anything doesn't mean nothing's going to be there. There's all sorts of different things that can show up. You can see there's a wolf there. We can explore a little bit more and see normal things, right? This doesn't look too crazy. But if we keep going, look at that. We got a crypt explorer, a Dvergr friend, right? So sometimes there's useful things, helpful stuff, but not always. It's often things that want to kill you. As we can see here, that's the awkward blue glow of one of our favorite friends, the Wraith. And we can see there, that whole room is just a whole bunch of nonsense. And my advice to you is you should probably run. The easiest thing you can learn is to use the monsters against each other. The undead faction in the Black Forest is constantly waging war on the Grey Dwarves. And you can use these things to your advantage early on in the experience before you've learned to take advantages of the bubble block. The bubble block is a special feature on Path of Magic designed to make melee more viable later on in the game. But it starts in the very beginning. To activate it, all you have to do is successfully block an attack and survive. After that, you're going to get a bubble shield. You can't see that it's there because it's really irritating to look at it all day, but if we turn our UI on and look in the top right, you can see that I now have a magic barrier. This means that I am unkillable in one hit. A second hit, even a weak hit, could kill me. But that first hit, I'll always survive. And if you actually keep your block up, it's designed to continuously allow you to survive. And there's a few other features going on. You can see that when your bubble breaks, it staggers all the enemies around, right? That allows you to run away from a tough situation. There's a whole bunch of depth to it that I don't have the time to get into. Last thing I want to cover is the complete overhaul of the Dvergr mechanics. The Dvergr in Path of Magic feature a variety of uses. And you don't need to find a special kind of Dvergr to start utilizing them. Every single Dvergr in the game has basic trading functionality, and here's how it works. All you need to do is take an item that you want to see if they might buy from you and throw it at them. They're going to tell you if they have an offer. If we give them 50 feathers, we'll get 50 coins. So let's toss this stack of 50 feathers, and we see they turned it into 50 coins for us, effectively turning every single Dvergr in the game into a trading merchant. And there's some really, really important game development mechanisms behind why this is. It has to do with item sinks and how Valheim doesn't have too many looping attributive item sinks. But I'm going to save you all from that, and we're just going to move forward. This isn't the only thing you can do with Dvergr. I just showed you one item. They can buy most items that you accumulate. So not everything, but a lot of it. This gives players reasons and incentives to interact with them, leading players to have Dvergr inside their bases to sell things to get gold. Because there's actually another end of this system. I believe that Valheim is all about a loop of exploration and combat and building, but the building part is kind of neglected by the base gameplay loop that most people experience. So in Path of Magic, it's all about giving coins value. So we need to allow players to get coins. Now they can turn all of their trash items into coins, right? And it might not seem like very much to you, but trust me, it accumulates. And it makes the game world feel more interesting because you know that you can sell pretty much everything you get, so there aren't that many items that have no purpose. Make sense? But what do you do once you get all these coins? Well, there's a whole bunch of stuff, and in this video, I'm going to focus on showing you the floor purchasing system. If you type buy ? You can see the floor buying system. And the way this works allows you to purchase building materials anywhere in the game, not around a Dvergr. That's right, you don't even need a Dvergr to do this. You could even purchase this stuff inside of a dungeon, anywhere you have coins. Here's how it works. You take a predetermined amount of coins. To find out the amount, you have to look at the prices. And here we have the first page, and this is some of the more expensive stuff, right? So here let's look at the second page where we have some cheaper things. The cheapest thing looks like it is some core wood or a classic cart. Let's get 50 core wood for 205 coins. Oh, I don't actually have 205 coins. It's a good thing I had some Great Warfies because they also purchased those. So now we have 300 coins. So all I need to do is make a stack of 205 of them and toss it on the ground. Now we need to get a little bit closer and type buy. This is going to magically purchase the predetermined item that we wanted, which in this case was 50 core wood. As you can imagine, this allows players to purchase building supplies anywhere that they have coin, allowing them to transport coin instead of transporting building goods. I find that this allows people to build more easily by surrounding them with building materials and making it a more enjoyable process. And again, if you want, all you have to do is type buy prices 1 ? And you'll see all of the things that are available for purchase this way. You can't buy progression medals generally, or if you can, they're really expensive. For the most part, this is a list of building materials. You can play Enigma Mode and use Ashland's building materials while never leaving the Black Forest. That's something that we designed with. We saw the way that people tend to stay in the meadows, the Black Forest, and these earlier biomes. And instead of saying, well, how can we force them out? The mentality here is, how can we bring the rest of the game to them? How can we allow them to build with advanced building materials early on in the game? And that's the idea with the floor trading system and how it relates to the Dvergr system. You can sell all of your trash for coins, you get a bunch of coins, and then you can use those coins to purchase the advanced building materials that you can't find in the early game, such as crystal or ashwood or growlstone or black marble, etc., etc. It doesn't just end there though. There are so many changes that I can't even get into for time reasons. Here's one of them. As you get closer to the edges of the world, the outer layers, you'll find more and more dangerous locations, including charred fortresses in mountains, mistlands. And if you start getting really far out to the edge of the world, you'll even find them in the plains, near biomes with a lot of monster-on-monster combat, one of my favorite things about Valheim. But for now, that's it for the feature teases. It's going to be available as soon as a call to arms becomes public. I might wait like 2 or 3 days afterwards just to make sure everything's smooth, but I've already tested everything out on the public test branch and it looks fine. So for now, what I want to transition into is answering some of the questions that I know you watching right now have. At this point in the video, you're pretty committed. So let me tell you how this is going to work. The idea here is to make EWP custom scripted worlds sort of available to the masses who currently don't realize it's possible. I realized pretty early on that I can't do that by teaching them directly, because they don't even think that this is possible in the first place. So they need to experience it. But how do they experience something they have to learn about to be able to install in the first place? Well, that's where the mod pack on R2 comes in. For them, this is just going to be a one-click R2 experience, just like any other mod. They won't even know that it's vanilla friendly. But it is, and that's what's so cool about it. Here's how it's going to work. You'll be able to install the host version of Enigma on your client, and then if you invite one of your friends into your world, they can be completely vanilla, and they'll have all of these changes that you're seeing here. So it will completely blow people's minds. They won't even need to install the R2 mod pack. And that's what I'm banking on. I want a bunch of people to have these scripting experiences, because then it's going to stick with them. and they're gonna learn what's actually possible now in Valheim. So I'm super excited to give you this news, and figured I'd make another update video to just tell you exactly what's gonna happen so you know what to expect. Enigma will be available to the public to use on their own worlds through a mod pack on R2 within a couple days of Call to Arms being launched. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye!